Hi third graders! Today we are going to do a review of topics A and B where we've learned about multiplication and division. So the first thing we're going to review is understanding equal groups. So we are going to skip count to find the total number of objects. You see that they're in groups of 2, so let's skip count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. So we know that there are a total of 20 objects. How many 2's are there? Well, let's see how many groups there are. There's 1 group, 2 groups of 2, 3 groups of 2, 4 groups of 2, 5 groups of 2, 6 groups of 2, 7 groups of 2, 8 groups of 2, 9 groups of 2, 10 groups of 2. So we know that there are 10 2's. Then we need to write a repeated addition sentence. Well, we know that if we have 10 2's, then we need to add 2 10 times. So 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2, that's 5 times, plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. Let's make sure we have the right number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we know that 10 2's equals 20 because that was our total number of 2's. So there's our repeated addition sentence. And then we're going to fill in the blanks here. How many groups of 2 did we have? We had 10 groups. So 10 groups of 2 equals 20. All right. Now we're going to look at equal groups. So here we have equal groups, and we know that they're equal because each of them have the same number of objects in the middle. We are going to write a repeated addition sentence. So we know that this group has 3 and this group has 3. So our repeated addition sentence is going to be 3 plus 3 equals what? Well, if we count by 3's, 3, 6. 3 plus 3 equals 6. And now we need to write a multiplication sentence. So how many groups are there? Here's 1 group. Here's 2 groups. So there are 2. And we know that the multiplication symbol stands for groups of. How many are in each group? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. There are 3 in each group. And that equals the total of 6. Now let's look at an array model. I want you to think about how this model of equal groups and this array are the same and how they're different. Pause the video and think about that for a minute. Alright, so the ways that they are the same is because both of them have 3 groups of 4. This one has 3 groups and this one has 3 rows. And they both have 4 in each group or row. There's 4 and there's 4. There's 4 and there's 4. There's 4 and there's 4. So that's how they're the same. They also have the same number of objects. 4, 8, 12. 4, 8, 12. A way that they're different is this one is arranged in equal groups and this one is arranged in an array. Now we're going to relate multiplication to the array model. So here we have some equal groups, and I want you to take these equal groups and redraw them into an array showing 3 groups of 5. Go ahead and pause the video and draw an array for 3 groups of 5. So let's check your work. We should have 3 rows and each row has 5 in it. So I'm going to draw a row of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to draw another row of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and one more row of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I have an array that matches my equal groups. Now we're going to talk about factors. Factors can be two things. Basically, they're the numbers that you multiply together. So in this case, the 3 and the 6 are both factors, and the 18 is the answer. And the answer in a multiplication equation is called the product. Factors can be two things. They can either represent the size of the group or the number of groups. And we've talked about that a lot when we've been talking about division and multiplication. We need to know what each number stands for so we know what picture to draw. So they can either stand for the size of the group, or how many objects are in each group, or how many groups there are. So I want you to draw an array for 4 times 5 equals 20. Pause the video and go ahead and draw that array. This is what your array should look like, so let's check your work. You have 4 rows of 5. Here is my number of rows, here is my number in each row, and here is my total. So if we count by 5s, we have 5, I can't really see that, can you? 5, 10, 15, 20. All right. Now we're going to write a repeated addition number bond. When we write a repeated addition number bond, we know that the total, which is 20, goes in the top. And we know that we're adding 5 4 times. So 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5, just like we showed here. And when we're doing an addition number bond, we can pretend that there is an addition sign right here in the middle of each bond. And now I want to show you the difference in a multiplication number bond. So in a multiplication number bond, the total still goes at the top. And this time, we're putting the factors. So we're going to put 4 in one part and 5 in the other part. And that shows me that 4 times 5 equals 20. So here we have a repeated addition number bond, and here we have a multiplication number bond. Both showing the same total or the same answer, just a different way of getting there. So in this problem, we were looking at these numbers. 4 times 5 equals 20. If we go back to the previous array, we know that there were 4 groups, or 4 rows. So the 4 represents how many groups there are, and that's why I labeled the 4 as the number of groups. The 5 represents the size of the group, how many are in each group. There's 5 in each group. And then the 20 represented the total. So here we have a factor, and here we have a factor. One of them represents the number of groups, and the other represents the size of each group. Now let's review our division. So let's read this problem. Yesterday, Miss Dale bought a pack of 20 pencils that I have here. She shared them with me by dividing, that's a key word, them into 2 equal groups. Now I have a bunch of pencils for our classroom. Do you want to know how many she gave me? First, we need to figure out what we already know. We know there's a total of 20 pencils. We know we're dividing them into 2 equal groups. So are we trying to figure out the number of groups or the size of the groups? We already know the number of the groups because it tells us here that there are 2 equal groups. So we already know that. So we're trying to figure out the size of each group. How many are in each group? That's what we're trying to figure out. So we are going to fairly share these objects. So if we are dividing them into 2 groups, here's Miss Dale's group and here's my group, I'm going to drag 1 pencil for Miss Dale and 1 pencil for me each time. So here's a pencil for Miss Dale and here's a pencil for me. Miss Dale and 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 me. So let's make sure I made equal groups. Let's count how many are in each group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we know we made equal groups. So our total for our division always goes first. We always know that this is the total. And we know that we had a total of 20 pencils because it tells me that right here. We divided those pencils into 2 equal groups, which is what the problem told me. There's a group for Miss Dale and a group for me, so we divided them into 2 equal groups. And we were trying to figure out how many were in each group, and now we know that there's 10 in each group. So let's do one more problem. Next week, my friend is having a party. 24 people are coming. She needs places for people to sit. 6 people can sit at each table. We need to know how many tables to get. So what do we know? We know that the total number of people is 24, because it tells us that right here. And we know that 6 people can sit at each table. And we know that this is the size of the group. So we are trying to figure out how many tables we need to get. And in this case, our tables are our groups. So we know the total. We know how many are in each group. We need to figure out how many tables or how many groups we need. So let's arrange these into 6 groups, into groups of 6, because 6 people can sit at each group. So I'm going to circle groups of 6. There's 1 group. There's 2 groups. There's 3 groups. There's 4 groups. So now we know that we have 4 groups, and I'm just going to write this really quickly here. That's very sloppy, but it's okay. 4 groups. So let's fill out what we know. We know we had 18. We divided them into groups of 6. And we know that we had, I'm sorry, I wrote this the wrong way. Sorry. We know we had 20. We divided them into groups of 6. And we made 4 groups or 4 tables. So let's figure out what all these numbers mean. Our 24 is our total number of people. Our 6 was the size of each group, and our 4 was the total number of groups. So let's fill this out in a number bond. We have 24 is our total. We divided them into groups of 6, and we got 4 groups. Work hard on your quiz. I know you'll do great.